and welcome to the Spruce Grove Public Library's YouTube channel. We are at SGPL Library Kids and we are continuing our story reading today. We are reading A Boy Called Bat, which is one of the Global Read Aloud 2018 picks. So we are also going to be reading some other books. So if you check out some of our other videos or you are an older kid, teenager, then you can also watch some of our books that we will be doing through our Teen Book Club, which is on Instagram, so do check that out. We're also going to be reading some books that are the picks this year, which are picture books, so they will be also on here too. So we will be reading this one, which is by Alana K. Arnold, and do come join us. If you don't know anything about the Global Read Aloud 2018, it's a program that goes every year, and it's a fantastic time to try some new books that you might normally read. So do have a look on their webpage and it will tell you what are the picks this year, or if you've read everything this year already, it has all the previous years and you can also try those ones. So we're going to continue with A Boy Called Bat. So we are going to have chapter 8 today, which is 16 Islets. Sometimes Bat wished that Janie went to his school because it would be kind of neat to see her in the hallways and at lunchtime. But most of the time he was glad his school was something he didn't have to share with her. Janie attended the Robert E. Willett Elementary School, but this was her last year. Next fall she would be going to junior high school. Bat went to a private school. It had smaller classes than the public school, and his parents thought it was a better fit for him, which was fine with Bat. Mr. Grayson was a good teacher who never yelled, and he usually let Bat wear his earmuffs if things got too loud. Also his school, the Saw-Whet School, was named after a type of owl. The main hallway at the Saw-Whet School was a busy place until 8:35 a.m. when classes officially started. Until then, it was full of parents walking the younger kids, those in kindergarten and first grade, to their classrooms, and the older kids walking themselves, all while the principal, Mrs. Martinez, stood outside the administration office, smiling and being friendly. Bat called Mrs. Martinez, waving and smiling. Bat didn't feel like talking to Mrs. Martinez, so he pretended he didn't see her and slid to the far side of the hallway as he passed. That way she couldn't reach out and rumple his hair. Bat hated it when people rumpled his hair, and Mrs. Martinez loved to rumple hair. She had never yet rumpled his hair, and Bat wanted to keep it that way. Bat liked the main hallway better when all the kids were in their classrooms. Right now, Luca and Israel, two kids in Bat's same class, were struggling out of their rain boots on the big rubber mat. It wasn't raining, but dark clouds peppered the sky in a way that could mean that recess would be wet. At Saw-Whet School, one of the philosophies was that students should go outside rain or shine or snow. Bat hadn't worn rain boots, so he didn't have anything he needed to take off. He didn't have an umbrella either, because the Saw-Whet School didn't allow them in the hallways or classrooms, which Bat agreed was a wise decision. He skirted around a kindergartner whose mother was kneeling in front of him holding a tissue to his nose. "Blow," she said, and he dodged between a couple of big kids, sixth graders who were tossing a small red rubber ball back and forth. "Balls are supposed to be kept outside," Bat told the slightly smaller of the two big kids, a boy he recognized by the red glasses he wore. "Not this ball," said the boy. "This is a special ball." And then he threw the ball over Bat's head to the other kid, a very tall girl, who caught it expertly with one hand and laughed. "It looks like a regular ball," Bat said. "It's not a regular ball," said the boy with red glasses. Bat had a weird feeling in his stomach, like the boy was tricking him. He didn't know what to say. Just then Luca and Israel ran by with their rain boots off. "Hi, Bat," Israel said. "Do you think it'll rain?" "Maybe," said Bat. "Well, eventually yes, but today, maybe." Relieved, Bat watched the two big kids move away towards their classroom, still tossing the ball. "What do you think was special about that ball?" he asked Israel. "Nothing," Israel said. Then Miss Kiko came out of the kindergarten room and rang her handbell. It made a gentle tinkling sound, way better than the harsh, painful scream of Janie's electric school bell system, which Bat had heard last year during a school play he'd gone to watch. To class, it's time for another day." Miss Kiko had a beautiful voice, which was probably why her job was to announce the start of school. Bat followed Luca and Israel into Mr. Grayson's third grade classroom. "I brought 2 sandwiches for lunch today," Luca was telling Israel, "in case you want to trade cookies for one." "Why would I want to do that?" Israel answered. "I brought my own sandwich." Bat knew why Luca would think Israel wanted to trade. Yesterday he'd heard Luca tell Israel that she really didn't like cream cheese sandwiches, and Israel had replied he really didn't like the turkey ones his mum always made. "I would trade anything for a cream cheese sandwich," he had said. He listened to see if Luca would remind Israel of what he had said, but she didn't. Probably Israel is just being nice, Bat interrupted. To make you feel better about bringing cream cheese sandwiches to school every day. He probably didn't really want your sandwich. Israel turned around, his face was red, and his eyebrows pointed towards each other, making a wrinkly crinkle in his forehead. Dude, he said to Bat. Bat waited for Israel to say more, but he didn't. He just said that one word. Dude. Then Luca started crying, and she shoved past Bat to get into the hallway. He watched her run into the girls' bathroom. Mr. Grayson came over. He was wearing his bright orange tennis shoes today. Bat liked it when he wore those shoes. It was like he was wearing suns on his feet. What's the problem, friends? He said. Bat embarrassed Luca, Israel said, really loudly, making Bat wish he had his earmuffs, but they were in his backpack, on his back. I'm sure you didn't mean to embarrass her, did you, Bat? Said Mr. Grayson. There were 16 eyelets on each of his shoes, Bat counted. 8 on the left and 8 on the right. That made 32 eyelets. Bat, can you look up at my face? Mr. Grayson asked. Bat shook his head. 32 eyelets. His own shoes had half as many, 16 eyelets, 4 on each side of each shoe. Mr. Grayson sighed. Okay, Bat, go sit at your table. Bat wondered if anyone in the class had more eyelets on their shoes than Mr. Grayson. He kept his eyes on shoes as he walked through the classroom. No, no one did. And that's as far as we're getting today. So thank you for joining us, and come back soon and we will have the next chapter. Thank you for joining us for virtual story time this week. If you enjoyed this story, come and visit us at the library or give us a call or a message and we will help you find more books, DVDs, movies, backpacks, whatever your literary heart desires. Thanks once again. Bye-bye.